One of the many benefits of attending baseball games at Diethrick Park is you never know who you're likely to meet.
That you shouldn't live in the past. It's dangerous. But to visit it is just a wonderful experience.
During the period of collusion, there were people who disbelieved it, even though it was as obvious as the nose on anyone's face. And I'd had people in that period say to me and write that owners can't agree on anything. How could they have collusion? And everybody forgot that prior to 1947, all of the owners colluded to make sure that not a single non-white player could play in the major leagues. That was a collusion which had existed for decades. And the only way they could keep players out, no matter whether they were Satchel Paige or what have you, superstars in their own right, the only way they could keep them out was a collusive conspiracy.
In 1985, Carlton Fisk, still one of the premier catchers in the game, became a free agent. He strangely received only one offer and eventually re-signed with Chicago. In 1987, Andre Dawson, the Montreal Expos star slugger, tried free agency too. No one wanted him.
I kind of felt that I was really, putting myself on the line and doing that. But I was hoping that they would come in and be very reasonable. And the offer they made, of course, it was not even for half of what I played for the year before. And the one thing, about myself is it was never really an issue about monetary value. I just wanted the game to be fun to me, and I wanted to go on a natural playing surface and be somewhere where the fans made it enjoyable for you. And when they submitted a figure, I think it was in an effort for me to turn it down. And I said, no, I put this in your hands. I'm going to be man enough to stand up to it. And when I gave them the okay, they said, well, we'll call you back. So they wasn't really sure that, it was some kind of trick of anything. And I did get a phone call within a couple of hours, and they said, welcome aboard, and, you can take your time getting out. But I do feel there was an effort on that part for me to turn it down so that I would have to return to Montreal.
87, 49 homers, 137 RBIs, according to this. What made the difference in you that turned that year to be your biggest year in that arena?
The biggest difference for me, I think, was one, I was on a natural playing surface. I was happy again. I was a little bit on the bitter or angry side when I left Montreal because I felt after 10 years, and if I wanted to retire as an Expo, there was no way I should have been hassled as far as negotiations was concerned. And the way that works is that it's very tough, and management knows that, to get players to want to come across the border and play. When you have both taxes involved, you got the situation with the weather, the French and English, you got the clearing and entering of the country, customs. So it's very tough to get players to want to come there and play on a full-time basis. And I just felt after 10 years, if you're going to hassle me, then it's time to move on. And when I look back, my grandmother passed that year. I dedicated the year to her. I really didn't set any goals. I just said, I'm going to go out, I'm going to have as much fun as I can. I started off kind of slow, but I can remember hitting a grand slam against the Cardinals in St. Louis, and that kind of got me going. And from there, it was just amazing. Things just started to happen day in and day out, and the game was just fun again.
Ask Andre, who was the toughest pitcher you faced in the National League?
Oh my God, over the years, yeah. When you're struggling, they're all tough.
They're all
when you're struggling, the slider breaks 3 feet instead of a foot. And fastball is 100 instead of 92. But I look back, and I was just saying to one of the guys when I first broke in, the guys that I had to face as a rookie, and it just didn't seem to get any easier day in and day out. But over the years, you know, I've enjoyed the battles against the Nolan Ryans and the Steve Carltons. I got my first hit off of Steve Carlton. But the toughest pitcher, I think, I can't say he was the toughest pitcher, but I look at my numbers against him, and it just, you know, appeared that, well, maybe this guy was the toughest pitcher, was John Smoltz. And, you know, I faced him more when he was a starter. I never faced him as a reliever. And for some reason, you know, he changed speeds. He kept me off balance a lot. And he was able to get me out front, get me out. I got myself out a lot. I won't say that he was the toughest pitcher I faced. There were guys that, you know, power pitchers that some days, you know, you just don't have a chance against. And then there are days when their good stuff isn't working, and you know, you say, wow, I got through this with a couple of hits, 3 hits, and this is one of the best pitchers in the game. But you know, it all boils down to the game is so funny. You know, day in and day out, you're faced with different situations, and every situation is a learning experience. And you got to find yourself making adjustments. And when you start making adjustments, then the pitcher has to make the adjustments to you. So if you are smart enough, astute enough ball player to go out there and day in and day out distinguish what you have to do that particular day, you have a lot of success. And that was, you know, the way my approach to the game was I kept a notebook on how pitches worked me, how they got me out, and what adjustment I had to make. And I think it paid off in the end because it made me a little bit more consistent, and I didn't have to worry about, well, you know, this guy's going to be real tough on me today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
James, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out to today's event. Please do stick around and watch today's ball game, and let's have one last round of applause for Andre.
Most remarkable scenes after the presentation was the autograph session where several of the Auburn Doubleday ball players stood in line to get the autograph of one of their heroes, Andre Dawson. 3 very happy Jamestown Jammers. Thanks for all the memories, Andre and Tony.